Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, happy Thursday morning. We got a hockey game tonight, a little ESPN hockey night. It's on the mothership. Boy, when they're putting hockey on during the middle of the NBA playoffs, wow, that's something else. Lightning and Toronto tonight right here at Arozarena. Should be a packed house. I expect plenty of Toronto fans, plenty of snowbirds down here. They're, I guess, still here. We love you. Come spend your money. Donate to the Kucherov Scholarship Fund and walk out with an L. That's what we're hoping for. It's didn't happen last time. That's for sure. Toronto whooped our ass. I think it was 6-2 the last time. So we'll see what happens tonight. Brian Bradley's going to join us from Morning Skate at 11:15. Give us an update. I haven't seen an update on Austin Matthews. Have you? Nick Geddes, Outkick.com, joining us. So we'll find out if he's going to play tonight.
I hope he does. I really hope he does.
Oh, I do too.
I want the best that Toronto's got.
Yeah.
I want them to get the best that the Lightning have got.
Mm-hmm.
And show up, please.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing about we can't get up for games.
Well,
Get up for this one.
Well, our record is abysmal against playoff teams. So this is, I think it's time we say, okay, Hagel is become more comfortable. Clearly, Nick Paul is getting it done. Then this new line of Colton and Stamkos and Palat is really gelling well. So, McDonough's back from injury. Everything is ready to show us, are you a playoff team? Can you skate with the best teams in the league? And we're going to find that out tonight. Toronto is one of those teams. They're a playoff team. They're hype. They're explosive. They're high powered. They whooped our ass last time. So I expect to see the Lightning come out and give us their best effort, their most consistent effort for the entire game, and get her done. But we'll see. We'll see exactly where they're at, because I still don't know, based on that record, is this Lightning team good enough to compete with the best? That record would suggest no. So we've got to see it. As much as we'd like to believe the core of this team, two-time back-to-back champions, can compete, that record against those teams suggests that maybe we're not good enough. I don't know. I think we are. I think a lot of it has just been malaise and lack of urgency, so to speak. So we'll find out tonight. And that's why I think this is such a pivotal game.
Yeah, I was listening last night or yesterday on the way home. I was listening to NHL radio on Sirius, and I was trying to get the, I guess, national perspective. And of course, those guys are from Canada, so it's a little bit of a extreme perspective. And they are already written off the Lightning. Already written them off.
Really?
He's like, I was listening to it as Boomer and Han, and he's like, I don't want to be the guy to say it, but I just get the feeling this team has too much tread on the tires.
Yeah.
And they feel like the old dog that's fought too much, and they got nothing left. And
when you look at how they've played in the last couple of months, and especially against the playoff teams, I think the record's 1-11.
Yeah.
How can you come to any other conclusion?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be Mr. Myopic fan. I work for the Lightning, blah, blah, blah. This is me putting my objective hat on. And when you look at those results, you can't come up with another conclusion. I'm sorry. Except, and this is what I'm holding on to. It's a team that an old dog that has fought hard, but maybe, is a little crafty, a little foxy, so to speak, and saying, you know what? We just emotionally, we're spent. We're just going to chill for a little while. We'll glide into the playoffs, and then we'll flip the switch. And then the big bad dog's coming back.
I just,
not buying into that scenario.
I would have bought into it maybe 2 weeks ago if we had flipped that proverbial switch 2 weeks ago and I saw some fight. Unfortunately, I feel like we've seen two games, the Buffalo game and the Winnipeg game, where we felt it.
Not playoff teams.
No, not playoff teams.
Right.
And then against Detroit, the first period, we certainly felt like we were turning some kind of a corner.
Right.
And they just go through lulls.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they get out of it. We talked about Sergachev's play yesterday.
Yeah, brutal.
That's just brutal right now. I still think defensively there's just too much going on there. And the fact of the matter is the East is just way better this year than it has been in recent years.
Yeah, a lot of these teams have loaded up to compete with the Lightning, and the gap is closed. There's no doubt about it. And as I said this about a week and a half ago, I think it's an extreme long shot that they win another title. That doesn't mean they can't make a deep run. I think they have the ability. I think they have the ability, whether they have the emotional energy left to do it. Because I think this, it just comes down to human nature. These other teams are just hungrier than you are. When you've been, eating at the championship buffet for a couple of years, you get a little fat and happy, and it's hard to, manufacture that level of intensity that you have to have, especially in the playoffs, to compete every night. So, again, I think it's a long shot that they win it all, but I also think that it's hockey. It's, it's playoff hockey, what we'll see, I think, a glimpse of tonight, and we'll see how they respond. I think it's within them. Can they summon that kind of fortitude?
And barring really a collapse against Columbus that we don't need to bring up ever again,
right.
They are not a team that goes like in the first round and just kind of walks their way through it. They've always come out firing in the first round for the most part. And we talked about it a few days ago. What team wants to play the Lightning in the first round?
Nobody.
Even with them not playing at their best, it's still, you have that. It's the question still lingering in every team's head. We're probably going to get a completely different Lightning team in the first round. And we're hoping so. But like we've said for the last month, it just has not been good enough.
No, it hasn't. And that's why I think tonight's game is so critical. It really is. And the Panthers on, was it next week? We're at the Panthers as well. Yeah. So that's those two games to me are the ones that are circled to say that just see, are we good enough? Because we might not be. This new configuration without that third line, this is I know we've been through a whole regular season, but obviously the new additions changed the entire chemistry of the team. So you needed some time to see if that was going to kind of catch hold. I think we've seen a pretty good bit of Nick Paul. I think he's added a lot. Hagel, I think, is a good player, but he just hasn't been as impactful.
Found his role yet.
No, he just still feels a little bit out of sync to me.
Yeah, and I think Nick Paul playing on that line with Kucherov at point, if you were asked Breezeball when he acquired him, are you seeing that we're going into playoffs with him on a line with Point and Kucherov? I don't think he's ever going to tell you that was the plan.
No, I would agree with that. They've had
to shuffle so many lines together to find the right combination, and this feels like, I guess, the flavor of the week. I don't know. They change the line so frequently, and it's working right now. Who knows if it's going to work tonight or next week or whatever.
Right.
But if he ends up being that guy and that's your first line, you have to say, once again, great acquisition to get him in there, because it's one of those things. If they didn't have Nick Paul in this lineup right now, I'm there. I'm like, I don't know where how many games the team would have won down the stretch here.
And let's just be honest. Nick Paul is one of those kind of playoff additions. He's a bigger forward and the Lightning are going to I think they're going to have to change their approach a little bit and be a little bit more physical to win games. And that's what wins in the playoffs. I think, this was a move definitely with an eye on the playoffs, and to go do kind of, I always go back to that Capital series in the conference finals, due to the Florida Panthers and Toronto for that matter, what the Caps did to us that year, and just beat them up physically for 7 games. And, and that's why Cooper so stresses this defense. He knows if we can commit to defense and keep it under 2 goals, that we have enough offense and scorers to win games. But we can't win shootouts anymore. And he knows that. We're not that fast. We're not as up and down the ice as some of these other teams are, but I think we have a better mix for the playoffs. Bigger, stronger, a little bit more edge, and that wins. So we'll see. And I think it really starts tonight. That's why I think this tonight is such a key. And by the way, it's 8:00 start on ESPN. So if you're going to the game, we always like you to get there early anyway, but just keep in mind 8:00 is the start time tonight. All right. The Rays get an 8-2 win yesterday, an abbreviated win over the Cubbies. And they have now finished these 13 games in 13 days at 7-6. And, as the way we felt about this team on Monday, I think we feel a little bit different about them on Thursday. Not wholesale differently, but I think it was nice to see them pick up a couple of wins in those particular cases. And to keep in mind, just dreadful weather for both teams, obviously, but certainly not what the Rays are used to in any stretch of the imagination. It was snowing, for God's sakes, on Monday night when I was there.
Yeah, snow, rain.
Yeah,
probably some sleet.
There was some sleet. Yeah, we got sleeted on too. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's
not baseball.
No, it's not.
And it's hard to hit.
It's not baseball, but you got to give the Rays credit up there in tough conditions and a ballpark you don't play a lot in. And the last 2 games, I thought they executed pretty damn well. And yesterday they got bailed out, I think, by the weather.
They did.
Didn't have to use any of the bullpen, which was nice to see.
Really good, yeah. That kept another 4 innings of arms.
Another 4 innings arms, which are key. And you get the off day now too, finally.
Yeah, and they get an off day today, and then they get an off day Monday, I believe, as well. So a couple of off days in between. Who we got coming in here? I forgot to even look.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I'll pull that up real quick.
Yeah. Last night, once again,
Boston's
coming to town. Boston's coming to town. Last night, Wander Franco again. We'll play that highlight here in the middle a little bit. But the good news is Randy Arozarena is getting going. And he's starting to hit the ball all over the field, which is good. And he got it going early on. His energy is just absolutely essential for this team.
Very good. Chopper fair. That's going to be by the R and down the left field line. The Rays are going to break out in front. Arozarena into second with a goal, scoring Lowe, and the Rays lead 1-0.
Then Arozarena would attempt to swipe third. Ball gets by third baseman, so he scores. They get out to an early lead, and they started the game a half hour early with weather impending. So the Rays made it obviously a priority to score early, and I'm sure the Cubs did too, by the way. I think, let's wait to score late in this one. No, of course they made it a priority, and they actually executed it. And where would this team be without Francisco Mejia? 2-run homer last night for him, and this one goes the opposite way.
That's a shot into left center field. Ortega angling all the way to the wall, and it's gone. Opposite field home run off the bat of Francisco Mejia.
The way he golfed it out, too.
Yeah.
He's got some serious power.
Yeah.
So that's a hard ballpark to go that way with as a lefty. To go left center like that and to get it out, you heard the sound off the bat.
Yeah.
And I kept saying since the Chicago series, I think he's got to play at least more often than not, right? And I know that
if he's not catching, he's got to be at the DH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a great catcher. We know that, but we need the offense right now. So, he can be a DH.
Can he play first?
He can't be worse than Ramirez, right? He can't be.
I mean, we're putting everybody else at first. It's more natural for a catcher to switch to first.
Hell yeah.
Than some of these other guys. I think
should be able to scoop anything.
I think he might have played first a few times last year.
I might recall that, yeah.
Because there's very few offensive catchers in the league that are better than him.
Right.
So they want him in the lineup. You know that.
But against right-handers, they're going to put Choi out there.
Yeah, but he's got the switch hitting versatility.
Yeah, yeah. So you can put him, but Choi's going to play against lefties, and he can play. Well, whenever he just got to have him in the lineup. He's been that good, and he had a double as well that was kind of a high fastball. So he's showing a lot of versatility as a hitter. Can go any way, and it's got pop, and not the biggest guy in the world either.
No, little dude.
No. And I think he had a 50-game hit streak in minor leagues, I think. So the dude can hit.
Yeah, I know he was the top catching prospect for about 3-4 years, never translated to the big leagues. Yeah. And the Rays got him in the Blake Snell deal as an add-on, and he's been the focal point of that trade so far. Yeah, he's been the best part of that trade, no doubt. And Wander Franco went 9 for 22 on the road trip. In that god-awful cold, he still went 9 for 22. And last night, another opposite field double for him.
Hey, a base hit up the left side. That's going to go into the corner. Extra bases. Lowe hitting third. Linares will wave him home. The throw's not going to be nearly in time on the double by Franco.
Another opposite field hit for him. Yeah. This guy just hits it wherever that ball is pitched. Yeah. I love the way his approach to hitting. Yeah, I didn't grow up with Tony Gwynn. I know you've mentioned him a few times as he might be this generation's. And I've got a chance to watch a little bit of Tony Gwynn highlights.
And you see the similarities. And just that right there, that hit, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but not many guys in this league are taking a pitch like that and taking it to the opposite field and having the wherewithal to know that the left fielder is shaded more to the right, and he's got all that space there on the left, and if he gets it there, he's going to get the run home. I mean, he's playing chess, not checkers right now with these pitchers.
He is.
And it's just, he's the most enjoyable player right now I think I've seen in a Rays uniform, like ever.
It's hard to get him out. He just, wherever you pitch him, he doesn't have any holes in his swing, at least as far as we've seen yet.
No, he makes it short when he needs to. He's not trying. There's a reason why he's got 1 home run this year. Not trying to do that.
Right.
Just put it in play.
Yeah. And he's just the best. He's the best Rays hitter I've seen maybe ever. Yeah. I mean, just in terms of putting the bat on the ball. I mean, we got to see the production and everything, but he rarely swings and misses. He rarely looks bad in the box. He's so balanced. And he's just got tremendous elite bat on ball skills. He just very, very rarely misses the barrel. Much like my batting cage performance the other night.
You were missing the barrel a very good amount. Don't be fooled out there by this man, because you still didn't put the video out there.
Felt pretty solid to me. And then Josh Lowe. Josh Lowe starting to heat up a little bit. And I'll tell you what, anytime the ball gets in the gap, that dude ends up on third. You notice that?
Yeah.
I mean, he's very rarely pulling up for a double, and he didn't this time.
There it is, a base hit into right center field. Arozarena's going to score. The ball going all the way to the wall. This is going to give Josh Lowe a chance for 3, and he's going to make it ahead of the throw. 3-base hit for Josh Lowe, and a run batted in.
Pretty fast dude for a guy 6'4".
Yeah, I have no idea. I just watched that again there. I have no idea how he got to third
that quickly.
Yeah. That ball was not like deep out. It got there with some velocity, and he's standing on third.
Yeah.
And kind of like Wander Franco, a throwback hitter, you see the way he kind of stands and the way he holds the bat and the swing. He's not trying to hit one out every time. He's just trying to make contact, and I really love that combo right now, and I see why the Rays love him.
Yeah.
It's easy to see that.
Yeah, I still think this team is it's starting to get a little bit better, starting to see some of the progress. But I still don't see a championship level team just yet. But we'll let it play out a little bit. And it's not like anybody's going to win Biden, you know. I don't see anybody. Certainly not the Yankees. And we'll see the Red Sox this week.
Well, the Yankees, I think they kind of turned it around. I think they're 7-5 now.
Yeah.
So Rays are 7-6, which, evaluating the Rays, 7-6, as much as we've kind of talked about the issues with the team, I think you take that at the moment.
Yeah.
The big series against Boston, who's not playing their best baseball coming in.
Yeah. I haven't really paid much attention to the Red Sox. They're 6-6. They've won. They're 6-4 out of their last 10. The -2 run differential. Rays are +5. Yankees are +5. Toronto's 7-5. So it's not like anybody's running away. Nobody's really started hot in the American League at all. I guess the Angels at 8-5 are maybe the most surprising. But that's good. You don't want to, because games in April are just as important as games in September. So the Rays have not played their best baseball, and they're a half game out of first place. So,
and you take that.
I think absolutely. Oh, absolutely, you do. And they've got a chance to measure themselves against Boston, which is good. All right.
This is a great point right here. I just saw this from Luke W in the chat. There is a chance that they're going to face Waka, Rich Hill, and Nate Eovaldi in all 3 games this weekend.
Wow.
All 3
Rays. X-rays. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
And Waka and Hill, obviously much more recent. I don't, what do you think? I mean, when you go up against, these are guys, Waka and Hill, that obviously we know very well, but they know our hitters pretty well too. So it's probably a wash.
Well, Michael Waka has actually had 2 pretty good starts in a Boston uniform.
Yeah.
I have seen that, and didn't get that much last year in a Rays uniform like we wanted to. And Rich
had
Hill,
his moments.
Rich Hill's like 100 years old.
Yeah.
Still going out there. Nate Eovaldi is a bona fide ace for the Red Sox. So
yeah. So we'll get the best that they have to offer.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a good crowd too this weekend. Please, somebody, please get a good crowd in there this weekend.
I think we should
against Boston on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Please.
That should be good.
I might even have to make a trip there.
Yeah. I got my weekend plans are a little bit up in the air right now, but I can see that. I can see making a trip over there. What are the tickets like? How much are tickets?
Let's put that as a project for the show here.
Yeah. Let's see if they're
In-show
offering any specials this weekend. I don't think they are. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I wanted to mention this tweet that got a little bit of play among Rays fans. I retweeted it this morning. It's from an Oakland A's fan. If I can find it here. Basically, stating a lot of the things that have happened to the Rays. Danny Vietti, he's got a check mark. So he's a senior social producer, sometimes scribble words, CBS Sports MLB, has a podcast, an ex-player. So he writes, let me see if I go back to that. He says, to those clowning the A's for having poor attendance, I believe that was you. He was talking to you because you were ripping them for their 3,000 attendance the other day. Yeah, you did.
Couldn't be me.
It was you. Go ahead. 3,000 fans in attendance is sad and embarrassing, but understand why this is happening. It's not for lack of fans, nor is it an indictment on the fans. This is a boycott of A's fans after nearly 2 decades of watching their owner refuse to invest in the team they love, an owner that has traded at walk fan favorites as Mark Semien, Matt Chapman, and Matt Olson because he can't, quote, afford them, an owner whose team still plays in a stadium with sewage problems, a stadium that still has horse troughs as urinals in the restroom, an owner who sent his president to Las Vegas and Portland last offseason to do research for relocation, an owner who has a team payroll that ranks second last in the MLB again. A's fans are some of the most knowledgeable fans I've ever encountered. Why would an A's fan go to a game when they just raised ticket prices for trading their stars? Why would an A's fan buy the jersey of a player? Does it sound familiar to anybody? Says, I was born and raised in NorCal. I grew up going to the Coliseum. The East Bay has a massive population. The right field Rowdies are amazing. Playoff games in Oakland are unbelievable. It's not that A's fans don't exist. They're tired of the BS. It's a boycott. Sound familiar?
A little bit.
And I don't know specifically their financial situation as intimately as I know the Rays' financial situation, but it's not much different. I mean, they get revenue sharing dollars like the Rays do. I don't know what their local TV package is, but in a market that big, I would guess it's significant. There's no reason for the A's to have a payroll of $33 million. That's an effing joke. And there's no reason that they should still be playing in that crappy stadium. If you're an owner who's serious about your team, you make it happen. You make it happen, especially in California. My God, they spend money on some of the dumbest shit ever. There's public money available. There should be a good chunk of private money available in baseball. It's a big business. Every one of these owners is making $70 million in central fund money. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of revenue there. There's $280 to $310 to $20 million in revenue, and a $33 million payroll is not acceptable. It's not. And they didn't have to trade those stars. They didn't have to do what they did, but these guys keep doing it because he's using exactly the Rays model. That's what the A's owner is doing, the exact same thing. And Major League Baseball should not allow this to happen.
Yeah,
they shouldn't.
It's more urgent for them, those fans. I mean, because there's a whole generation of Oakland A fans, 40, 50 years old, that have only played baseball in that thing.
Yeah.
And that, whatever that thing is.
It's awful.
I mean, I've never been there. It's not on my bucket list by any means.
No.
But it just looks so unappealing, no matter how you slice it. It is. I think it's still 100 times worse than the Trop, to be honest with you.
I've been there did a Raiders game there, Bucks Raiders game there. It's awful. It's an awful part of the city. It's awful to get to. It's awful inside. It's just awful. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a relic. It's a dinosaur. And Atlanta's built 2 baseball stadiums in the time that they had. That's the same design as Atlanta Stadium.
Yeah,
the old Fulton County. And the Reds had the same stadium, those cookie cutter stadiums. Those have been gone everywhere else forever. And you can't tell me it's just because of the Oakland area. It's not. It's a big, obviously, metropolis there. They should be able to get this done. But when you have cheap owners, this is what you get.
And I kind of like compare it to So like the Rays and the A's would be like the obviously comparison.
Yeah.
So then you would have like the Lightning and like the Warriors.
Right.
The two teams that win, number one.
Yep.
The two teams that have great ownership, it appears.
Yep.
A great facility.
Packs them in.
And
Yeah.
then
I mean, obviously the Warriors got a new stadium, but while they were at Oracle, which was right next door, same location, they packed them in.
Yeah, that kind of stuff always is interesting to me when you have multiple sports teams in one area and you have like one team or two teams that seem to have their crap together and can get it done. And then you have the one that just can't do anything right. And in this area, it's the Rays, obviously.
Yeah.
And in that area, it's the A's.
And both the A's and the Rays have been successful on the field.
Exactly.
And they've done it with a low payroll, which I think just emboldens them to try and do it more instead of going out and spending more money and figuring out the stadium situation. Again, I don't know their stadium situation as well as I know ours, but the bottom line is all our owner has to do is pay half.
Well, they seem to be pitting two cities against each other too, except the other one they're pitting them is in a whole different state. Yeah. With the Las Vegas, which is the craziest thing where they're trying to I did an article yesterday on this for Outkick relating to the Nashville thing. Yeah. And I put some stuff in there in the A's. They're looking for stadium options in Las Vegas, but also are like doing a split and have 1 foot in the door in Oakland as well. Yeah. So, I mean, they're totally just all over the map right there because they're trying to follow the Raiders. Yeah. Where the Raiders went, which, okay. I don't know why we have to put all these teams from Oakland into Las Vegas. Right. I mean, especially a team like that's been in Oakland for how long now? I mean, at least long as I've been alive, long since they went away from Philadelphia? Since the 60s. Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me when these teams do this.
Well, and I thought I read that there was a huge development going to happen on the waterfront in Oakland. They got all this federal money, like billions of dollars in federal money to redo the waterfront down there, and the baseball stadium was going to be part of that. That's the last I'd heard on that. Is there any update on that?
No, it seems like it's almost their Las Vegas plan is what they're kind of going after right now.
They're more focused on Vegas.
I mean, because it's Vegas. I mean, it's
I don't think
the
Vegas,
hip thing right now. But as a baseball market,
I don't see it. I don't see it because a couple of things. They already have football and hockey there, and they're angling for an NBA team, which I think is very doable. Yeah. I can see New Orleans relocating.
Yeah,
there.
It's Vegas. Like, to me, hockey works because you can make hockey a show, and that's Lord knows Vegas makes it a show. Football is football. Anybody's going to travel to see football. Right. Baseball in Las Vegas, it's not exactly a show.
In the summertime, even if you have an indoor stadium, which you'd have to have. It's a lot of games. It's a lot of games, and it's a slow game. And Vegas is showy, and I just don't think it's a good fit.
No, I don't either.
And you got to remember, as big as Vegas is in terms of just the pub that it gets, it's not a big market. It's still, I think, in the 30s, maybe low. At one point, it was in the 50s. And I know it's grown a lot, but I think it's probably still in the 20s and 30s. It's not a huge market. There's not a huge population there. People are moving there, obviously, but you're going to get to a saturation point. So I just don't think baseball works. I think it works better in Oakland. It's got a great history to it. It's got a great history to it. It's just, again, this is just bad ownership. What that guy describes is exactly what is happening here. And that's bad ownership. And you look around all of these other media, all these other markets, why have they been able to get new stadiums done and these two markets have not? Ownership. It's about ownership. It's not about market. It's not about money. It's just about leadership and ownership that is willing to partner with the community. And when you get guys that are just all about making a buck, don't care about the community, don't care about the players, don't care about anything but their wallet, and being able to tell stories about how they win on a low payroll and how much money they've made in their investment. And when that's your priority as an owner, it's going to suck for the fans. And that's what we're stuck with, and that's what Oakland's stuck with. And frankly, Major League Baseball is ultimately responsible for this because they can do something about these owners. They can do something about it, and they refuse to do it. And I don't understand that. At least as far as this goes, I think Major League Baseball, I think Bob Manfred now understands the dynamic that's going on in ML in Tampa Bay, and I think that's why I've been told, and some other people have been told, that Major League Baseball is focused on getting this deal done this time in Tampa, and they're going to force Stu to either pay for half of it, accept the deal, move forward or divest himself of the team. That's the sense that I get. This stadium is going to get done either with or without Stu Sternberg, and I think the agreement's got to be done within the next year, as far as I'm concerned. We got some other comments coming in. Rays could. Oh, we already did that one. Luke says we'll be better than Oakland. The Rays extended their franchise players. The A's extend Chris Davis. Not exactly the same. Yeah, well, again, the Wander Franco contract, I think people have made way too much of it. I think they've come to conclusions about that contract that, suddenly the Rays are opening their purse strings and this is a new team that's going to pay their players. I'll believe it when I see it. I hope it's true, but I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that Wander Franco finishes his career as a Ray. Not as long as Stu Sternberg is the owner. If there's another owner comes in, absolutely he will. But as long as Stu Sternberg's the owner, there's no way Wander Franco finishes that contract here. No way.
Well,
no way.
I'm going to be leading a riot then, along with thousands of other Rays fans.
This just in, he don't care.
Well, let me tell you right now, the hell with the business, money, whatever. If there's one player you can never let leave this market in this team, it's Wander Franco. You have to understand that this guy is a top 5, top 3 talent in baseball.
Yeah.
And he needs to be here forever. I don't care what you got to do to make it happen. You could jettison the rest of the team for all I care. He's got to be here.
We'll see. I agree with you. And any sane person would do so.
Yeah. And by the way, speaking of Wander Franco, I don't travel much out in these circles, but you can tell me. And anybody who's St. Pete, is he on any billboards around here? Can anybody let me know if he's being?
I saw him.
I would strap the rocket ship to him right now.
I saw. You know what I did see?
What?
Last night on the game? A 30-second spot on the Brett Phillips home run.
I was going to tell you that. And it's very nicely done.
Very well done.
And he was on ESPN on the K-Rod cast on Sunday Night Baseball, too.
How about that?
So he's getting a lot of pub.
Has he been around locally? On all the shows locally?
Not sure. Not sure. But hey, it's bigger. National deal's bigger, in my opinion.
But no, I'm about getting it done locally here because the people from St. Louis ain't coming to our park.
True.
That ain't happening. Somebody put on here, and I'm not sure about this. Maybe you heard something about it. The A's were hit with a $12 billion lawsuit by port worker truckers, it said, due to environmental concerns. No, that's not the A's hit by that. That would be the port, I would think. But they're in that area. So maybe that area was hit by a $12 billion lawsuit. So it put the proposed stadium in jeopardy. Okay, so that big huge federal dollars, I guess. So everybody's like, "Ooh, they got federal dollars. They got billions of dollars. Let's go get it. Let's sue." So I guess that would definitely put it on hold. That sucks for A's fans, and that sucks for. But was the owner going to do the deal anyway? I don't even know. So yeah, he's on the printable schedule. Mario tells us, or Luke W. Wander Franco, but that's not the point. The point, those schedules, those printable schedules are handed out at the games, right? We're talking about outside advertising, and what marketing do the Rays do outside of their the games that we're watching? That's not outside marketing that they have to pay for. That's probably within their deal when they're selling ticket packages and putting commercials within their own game. I'm talking about billboards, doing outside spots. I don't think I've seen outside spots on SportsCenter. I don't think I've seen it on other stations where they actually have to go out and pay money to market their team. I don't think they do that. They certainly don't do it a lot. And by the way, folks, you can get, in case you didn't know, you can get one of those digital billboards for a week in a good location for like $500. It's not a huge amount of dollars to go buy a billboard with Wander Franco on it. Yeah. And outside of baseball fans, I got news for you. You could walk around Tampa Bay, and I'd say if you ask 10 people on the street who's Wander Franco, I bet you'd probably get 2 or 3 that would know. You think I'm wrong?
No, not really.
I mean, they don't market him outside of Rays baseball fans.
Yeah. He just, to me, I don't know what, and I know he's not, like, he doesn't speak English, which doesn't matter to me.
No.
But in light of the Shohei Ohtani thing, some people don't think he was marketable because of that, which I think is ridiculous. I hope that's not the reason.
Look at all the national spots he's doing now.
Exactly. Yeah. I hope that's not the reason. He should have the rocket ship strapped to him, and he should be all over this town. In my opinion.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter whether he speaks English or not. He can speak enough to do a 30-second spot.
Yeah.
Where you could do a spot just around him running the bases and hitting and put together some of his highlights and him smiling and him balling out.
That doesn't matter to me. It matters to some people who have said it before.
I mean, clearly I'm doing the work of the marketing department. So you want me to tell you how to do it in your next spot? Okay, here it is.
Maybe you need to show up to the Trop maybe later today and see if you can get on board.
Yeah, man. Here you go. Just what you do. Just some of his all of him smiling and high-fiving with his friends and give him, a 7-second script that he has to talk about. And just talk about the joy of him playing baseball and one of the great prospects. Yeah.
Almost on cue here. They just did a Sunday night baseball package here, and they maybe showed like 5 players hitting in like moments of the season, and Brett Phillips was in the package.
There you go.
In the Sunday night baseball promo package, they showed 5 players. Bryce Harper was one of them, and the one right after was Brett Phillips doing an airplane.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. So the national people are getting it, but we're not getting it here.
But the Brett Phillips spot was really nice.
It was nice. But again,
nice.
That's only – where's that running?
I see it every game.
In the game. In game. That doesn't cost them any money. That should be running on SportsCenter on the Spectrum package. Should be running in Spectrum Sports 360. Should be running in Good Morning America. Should be running on the highest rated shows in Tampa Bay. Locally, that's where it should be running. You got to go out and get new fans. That's the whole idea. But just running it, you're preaching to the choir if you're just putting it on your games, right? Exactly. All right, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get into a little NFL. Oh, 10:30. God, we went to 10:36. My bad. Dan Lucas coming up next if he's still available. Stay with us. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new, healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back. JP Peterson Show brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. Find out more at palermopa.com. Our apologies to Dan Lucas as we went on our Rays Don't Market Themselves rant and got a little carried away. What's up, partner? How are you?
I'm cleaning myself up from the rant.
Hey, question for you: Do the Rays have a advertising agreement with you guys, a trade, or do they do spots in your Stay Sports show?
They run the Rays promo that you probably see on a lot of stations. Just kind of the excitement promo type thing, and then they put the number up for tickets. That's what I've seen on our air.
Okay.
And they've also been really helpful to us. The folks. Everybody has to realize all these departments are separate. The guys in the trenches we deal with are communications, the PR people essentially that handle the players and they've been terrific with us. There was just a really helpful staff, and it's always a joy to work with the Rays. And then you take that into the perception around the market. Why aren't they, like you say, promoting themselves
right
to the fan base in that same way? And that's where I agree. And that's where, I would like to see more. There's tremendous people in the organization.
Yeah,
and
they really are.
They can't sit there and say, oh yeah, we this and we that, but they know, and they're doing what they can. But to say, yeah, we need to see more of this and more of the Brett Phillips moment. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's I said right after it happened, I said they got to do a 30-second spot on just the magic of that night and capture it. And I think they did a really good job producing it. I saw it on the broadcast yesterday. I just don't know if they're running it anywhere else. Because if they're running it on their broadcast, they're preaching to the choir. They got to get outside. They got to run it on your shows. They got to run it on Sports Center. They got to run it in, Good Morning America, Today Show, all those other places, and reach people that, the casual fan that maybe don't know about the things that are happening there. And that I think would definitely increase attendance. And I don't see that. I don't see their ads other places. I don't see a whole lot of billboards like I used to see. I don't know if you've seen them, but I have not. I mean, and like Nick just said, Wander Franco should be on every billboard all over town. And,
yes.
And
Wander Franco is a superstar.
Yeah.
He's going to be a superstar. He's a superstar right now. All the indicators and the statistics, he's a superstar, period. And, he needs to be the face of the franchise right now just to get people's interest. You don't have to be a baseball junkie to want to love Wander Franco. Anybody can do that. He's worth going to watch. When our dad talked about baseball from generations ago, they talked about their favorite players and moments. And you're seeing this now, that in however many years you're going to say, oh yeah, well, I remember the night Franco did this.
Yeah.
That's what the Rays have on their hands.
Yeah, and I would, and they should promote it in a big way, and not, I know he doesn't speak English, but you've dealt with him, and his exuberance for the game of baseball speaks volumes. You could just take 30 seconds of him playing baseball and celebrating and jumping around and smiling, and that's a good enough spot. And have a little tagline from him like, "Come see me play." I mean, that's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me mash pelota, whatever. I don't care. It just, get him out there. And he's got such a.
You and I just wrote. I think we just wrote 2 promos. You should invoice the Rays after this.
Well, I did. I said right after the Phillips thing, I tweeted that out, and they did it. So good for them. So I don't think they've done it on any other moments they've had. So, but whatever. Good for them. They finally got it done, but now they need to do it outside of them. And from your perspective, because I work for the Lightning. I see what the Lightning do all the time. I mean, they're everywhere. They're just doing community events. They're always out in the schools handing out sticks and street hockey balls. They're just, and that's their grassroots movement for the past since Vinnick brought this team has been second to none. I think they put a Lightning stick in every kid's hands in Pinellas and Hillsborough County schools. I don't see the Rays doing that type of stuff. Do you?
Well, they do. They do a lot of events and centered around parks and ballparks. There's events that even we can't get to that they'll even provide video of it. And in the end, it's a photo op and some watching some kids smile and run around, and which is good. But I don't think they're as active as the Lightning are, and I don't think anyone is.
Yeah. Because
the Lightning have taken the standard and gone through the roof with it. So it's almost not fair to compare the two. But they are active. They do some community events for sure. This past weekend, they just did some events centered around Jackie Robinson Day and all of that, and celebrating it with all of baseball. So it's there, it's out there. But then you have to say, like you're saying right now, all right, I haven't seen any of this. Why is that? It's not, you watch TV.
Yeah, a lot of it.
You listen to the radio. You're in the you're around the medium where this stuff would be. Where people at home are watching, where your demographics. I'm going after females this age. I'm going after male. So why would you say I'm not seeing it?
Yeah.
It's not your problem.
No.
That's the issue. That goes right into, again, what we were just talking about with marketing the players, and that's any organization that's having a problem getting the attention it deserves.
Yeah, got to do it. Hey, I know you're a big soccer guy. That was kind of a big deal for the Rowdies to go play Orlando City in the U.S. Open Cup yesterday over there in Orlando. And from what I read, they gave them a pretty good game, 2-1.
Yes.
Neil Collins got ejected because he thought the calls were all going against him, and evidently they were.
The lads put on a show. I'll tell you, the U.S. Open Cup it's like the FA Cup in England, and all the big countries in Europe have similar, where every single level of the professional game, even and in the U.S. Open Cup, they have the semi-pro leagues as well. You play in a tournament. You play the team that you're slotted in the brackets in the draw, and if you win, you advance. And so you're getting these massive upsets. In the soccer world, they're massive upsets, and there's been a few MLS teams already beaten in this U.S. Open Cup by USL Championship, which is the Rowdies League. So for the little guy, it's a chance to really, show you can do this and what you can, and it's great for the team and that. But in the end, it's usually the giant teams that play for the title. And the Rowdies were trying to pull off an upset last night, and I'm telling you, the Orlando City lineup that they put out there was they were using a little bit lesser lineup to start, and the Rowdies took it to them, and it was Rowdies. They couldn't break through. And at halftime, Orlando adjusted and threw their main guys out there. It was like, well, hell, this team's here punching us in the face. We got to put some of our studs out here. And so then the game evened out a little bit. And Orlando controlled the second half, and that's when they finally broke through and got the lead. But it's exactly as you said. It was. I thought there were some brutal calls against the Rowdies. I don't think that's the way it usually goes, but that's the way the match transpired. And Neil Collins, at the end of the game, what happened was the Rowdies had a free kick, and an Orlando player kicked the ball away, which is not unusual in soccer.
Right. Yeah.
And the ball rolled in front of the Rowdies bench. Neil Collins went onto the field to kick the ball back because he was pissed off, and that's a no-no in soccer. You can't go on the field, so that's why he got the red card.
He's just helping him get the ball back. That's all. I
think exactly.
That's a big deal.
I think he'd had enough.
I have not been to a Rowdies game. I haven't been to a Rowdies game in a while. I got to get over there with the new configuration and everything. So, take me over there, Luke. Come on, let's go have a few beers in the Rowdies section there and scarves on and act like soccer people. I love it. It'd be fun.
Good stuff. It's a fun night. I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so big game tonight with the Bolts. I've been pointing towards this one. Toronto whooped our ass last time here. Austin Matthews had a hat trick. Not sure if he's going to play. Brian Bradley's going to join us here at 11:15 from Morning Skate to let us know what's up. But this is a Lightning team that has not fared well against playoff teams. I think they're 1-11 in the past few months against playoff teams, and we got to find out if we can compete tonight. I think this is a big game. What do you think?
I agree, and I actually texted Brian the other night after the loss to the Red Wings, and I'm like, I said I don't understand it. I said I'm watching Cooper in the post game, and he's got that 1,000-yard stare, And, she just looks perplexed. And he goes, right now, there are guys that aren't motivated. And I agree with what he's saying, but I just get it. And this is the time of year, no matter how you're playing, that you mentally shift into this mode of, now we're going on our run. I think that it was 8 points behind. I think it's probably too late to catch Toronto. They got to hold off. They got to hold off Boston. They have a 1 point lead on Boston, and that the difference is, this first round would be against the Maple Leafs or the
Florida,
Carolina.
The Carolina or Florida?
Yeah, Florida.
Yeah.
So Florida. Number one in the first place team in the East. You're right.
Yeah.
So, or if Carolina's number one, the Lightning would be the number one wild card team if Boston passed them.
Right.
That's how that works.
Right.
So, you're looking at a gauntlet. I was trying to go through Florida, Toronto, Carolina just to get to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah. That's a lot to ask. That's a lot to ask.
It is. Last year, though, JP, at the end of the season, remember it was a kooky season, a regular season. I get that. But the Lightning played the Panthers over and over again, and the Panthers thumped them every time. And so that was the first round series. And to me, I thought it was doom and gloom for the Bolts.
Yeah.
And they got out of it. They won it in 6 games.
Yeah.
They took it to them.
That was the Stanley Cup final.
There is a little bit of a flipping of the switch.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I'm counting on. I think this team is emotionally, physically tired from the last 2 years, and I think it was almost expected that once they got the sense that they were in the playoffs about 2 months ago, they kind of just put it on cruise control, I think, and then they made some changes, obviously, and lost a few guys, but then brought in some good talent. I think it's taken a while for Nick Paul and Hagel to kind of assimilate into this team. And, I do think there's a Russian problem. I really do. It's not just here. It's around the league. You're hearing people talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it publicly. But these players, I've been told they can't get money back to their families. Some of them have extended families in the Ukraine. I mean, can you imagine, you don't know on a daily basis if your extended family's getting shelled. And within Russia, I hear there's a lot of turmoil there. So, these players have got that, I don't know how they can concentrate on hockey with this going on. And now, yesterday, Wimbledon bans Russian tennis players and Belarus tennis players, which, just now opens the doors for other leagues to do the same. I mean, these players got to be freaking out, and it's through no fault of their own. I mean, they have nothing to do with this war. But I do, you look at the play of Vasilevsky and Kucherov, and I mean, Kuch is coming back a little bit. Sergachev had one of his worst games ever. I think it's a factor. Do you?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the human impact of what the world is going through.
Yep.
And remember, these guys are young men who have grown up in a Russia that, for the most part, has been open and more shifted towards the Western world and the way we operate. And the mindset of the government in Russia right now is to try and get it back to the old Soviet way. So this is something that's jarring them personally. They're worried about family and friends back home. And how does that not affect you in your job, period? And I'll give you my own experience with this, on what's going on over there. We have a former coworker who lives here. She lives in the Carolwood area here in Tampa. She's Russian, from Russia, and her father passed away right before the holidays. So she went home to Russia to take care of her mom, and had basically an extended stay there to get her up and running and that kind of thing. Well, she's stuck there, and she was due to come back to the U.S. eventually, probably this summer. And I haven't heard from her. And finally, I didn't know what to do. You worry about people in Russia.
Yeah.
So I sent her a message on Instagram. Hey, listen, I hope this finds you well. Just let you know we're all thinking about you. And she responded. She said, "Oh no, we're fine." And she goes, "I am waiting to come home after these atrocities." And I replied, "Okay, love you." I was like, you know what? I think they're probably checking your Instagram. You may not want to say atrocity.
Yeah, that word might be flagged.
I don't want to get you in trouble here, but yeah. So it tells me that people in Russia, they got their media and all that. They have a better idea of what's going on than people think.
Yeah.
So I don't think that people are rallying behind their government today for this. So
no.
But I worry about her personally, and I worry about everyone's families who's playing here in the NHL and other sports leagues as well. It's disheartening to be detached from your family on the other side of the world and maybe not even hearing from them. That's scary.
Exactly. I mean, the best thing that can happen for this Lightning team and these Russian players is a ceasefire or a peace that could put them at peace. That would maybe the best thing that could help the Lightning. Obviously, has no bearing on what's going on in the Ukraine. It's just horrible. But I do think it's taking a toll on these players. Hey, before you go, quick comment on the Rays. What are your thoughts on the 7-6 start and playing baseball games? I don't know why we play any games in early April or even mid-April up north when you have domes and other places in the South that are not being used. It's stupid.
First of all, I was thrilled to death that you got to go to Wrigley Field with your son. I mean, if it's not on someone's bucket list, then you probably don't have a pulse.
Exactly.
But I couldn't help it. I'm like, where are these guys? The South Pole? What is this? What a great – when the Rays schedule comes out every year, the first thing I do is look at the road trips because I haven't done it in a few years, but I used to take my son to a road trip every year. And we hit Baltimore, we hit New York. And I always look for when are they in Anaheim? When are they out west?
Yeah,
you can plan vacation. You can only plan a vacation around a Rays trip. So when you see this Chicago at Chicago, 6 days, you're like, woo! What a great city. This is going to happen. And then it's just miserable.
Well, and that's obviously predictable, though they did have a couple 60-degree days last week. But, I mean, for the most part, it's been a disaster. And it wasn't the typical Wrigley experience and the bleacher bums in the sunshine on a day game, but it was great. It was fantastic.
You look around to see the locals. You see how they're handling it.
Oh, my God.
You know it's miserable.
They didn't even show up. It was all Rays fans. And locals were like, F this. We'll go later in the season. I'm not going out in this weather. You kidding me?
See you in June, boys. I'm not going out.
But it was so much fun, man. The Cubs fans were awesome. They were so awesome. We were all laughing at it, just everything going on. Our beers kept cold for 3 innings, though. That was a plus. Never got warm. But no, we
on your refrigerator.
it was literally snowing in Wrigley Field, but it was so much fun. All right, brother. Always good to chat with you. Tell the folks what you got coming up on News Channel 8 this weekend and just on your Sunday show, especially.
Well, I'll tell you what. Sunday night, we sat down yesterday with, believe it or not, Grant Stewart, Mr. Irrelevant from last year's draft.
Yes.
But, the timeliness. Here he is 1 year later. And I'm telling you, guys, this guy is very well spoken and has some thoughtful answers, talking about what it's like to go through the process. And he said something very interesting to me, and you'll see this Sunday. He said that he felt, and what he was led to believe, not by scouts and that, was he might have been a 4th or 5th rounder. And then when the draft started to take place, nothing happened the way it was supposed to happen. And so his buddies that were kind of all in his area, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, started communicating around to each other, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And so then you had guys going back into these rounds to the point where when it got to the 7th round, he had given up.
Yeah.
And was now fielding phone calls about being a free agent, this and that and the other. And of course, we know the Bucs wound up taking him. So I went back to the 7th round and I said to him, I go, Grant, you realize that in the 7th round of the draft, more than 20 of you guys made the team, made their respective teams. 3 of you played in every game. I said, the guy that was picked 2 picks ahead of you scored 2 touchdowns for Detroit. I go, these are guys, 7th rounders don't do that.
Ever. ever.
And so I thought it was a pretty interesting conversation, and we're going to run that Sunday night. So that's going to be fun to watch.
Good stuff. All right, partner. We'll be looking for that, and we'll chat next week about the draft. Sounds good.
All right, JP, be good.
All right, the great Dan Lucas, WFLA TV. All right, our good friend Leo Haggerty, former NFL scout, will join us next. We'll take a break. He was kind enough to move his slot as well, as we're running a little late. Content. That's what we give you, folks, every day. So stay with us. Leo's up next. We'll talk a little NFL draft. The health professionals at Bay Area Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. The world economy is in chaos and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at Scott from the upstairs portion. Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in? free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on. Welcome back. FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the Bay Area Modern Medical Center. In our second hour, Christopher Lugo and his medical team over there will get you right if you're looking for a new primary care physician. They are taking new patients. Many places are not. Christopher Lugo works with the military, is in the military himself, and works to keep our top pilots in shape. And obviously, those guys are elite athletes in their own realm. So he has all the latest techniques and for you to get fit. You don't have to be a Top Gun pilot, but he will get you fit and get you physically fit and ready for the next pandemic or whatever is coming up next. But as we learned in COVID, the healthier you are, the better chance you have of surviving and beating COVID and other viruses. So it's obviously a matter of life and death these days. So give them a call over there. Go to BAMMC.com, BAMMC.com. If you're looking for testosterone replacement or you're looking for just to be healthy, lose some weight, they have great programs for that as well. BAMMC.com. All right, let's bring in our good friend Leo Haggerty from Amped Up Sports, former NFL scout. Talk a little NFL draft. What's up, Leo? How are you, buddy?
Hey, another day in paradise here in Tampa, JP. Can't get much better than this, can it?
Indeed. And you'll be covering the Lightning game as well tonight. Pretty hyped for this one against Toronto, I'm sure.
Boy, I'll tell you what, this will be a playoff prelude for sure.
Yeah. I'm not sure if if you've heard yet, if Austin Matthews is playing tonight. We got Brian Bradley coming up next from the morning skate. He might be able to shed some light on that, but I don't know if you've heard anything.
No, I have not.
Okay.
It's going to be a game time. That's all I know is it hasn't been decided yet. But if I'm Toronto, I'm sitting him out only because just if you lose, you always say, okay, Matthews didn't play.
Right.
And that's a big thing. You do not want to give Tampa any momentum. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, to me, I got to see if it's kind of a litmus test game for me tonight to see if they can play with the big boys in the playoffs. These playoff teams they've struggled against. So we shall see. All right, let's turn our attention to this NFL draft. Did you pick up anything at all from the Jason Licht press conference last week?
Yeah. And again, JP, they're not going to go reach for somebody.
Yeah.
And I asked him point blank. I mean, at 27, there are going to be multiple players you still have on the board. Do you trust your board or do you reach from that group? He said, nope, we're going to trust our board. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them take any position but quarterbacks. Now, they're not going to go down that road, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them take a wide receiver because you don't know how Godwin's coming along. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see them take a defensive tackle because you don't know what they're doing with Sue. And they're getting a little long in the tooth there anyway. But the big thing, JP, is they are drafting for now and the future. And that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. Well, I think they still have to have, if I'm running this organization, I still have to lean a little bit towards now. It's still, as long as Tom Brady is here, it's about Tom Brady. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go offense. I mean, what it means to me is you have to have impact players this year. I'm not taking a guy that's coming off an ACL injury that, in the upper rounds that may be a great player down the line, but is not going to help us this year. I think that might be Lewis Steen on defense, a playmaker who can come in and make an immediate impact. It might be a Zion Johnson who you just feel like you got to have someone a little bit more stout up front to let Brady, step into those throws. And, God forbid anything happen to the starting guards. You want somebody up front that can stand up. So for me, as much as it's the best player available, I have to lean in a little bit to somebody I think that's going to make an impact this year. Your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. And again, if they've got somebody on board at 10 and 12 and 13, now you're in a reasonable group saying, okay, who's going to help us right now? Mm-hmm. But if they've got somebody up there still and let's say number, 11, and then the next guy is 20, there's going to be a conversation in that room. You know, where do we want to go with this?
Yeah.
Because and again, it was funny. He said Bruce is going to be involved in this. I'm just wondering how much and who's going to carry the most weight.
Exactly. That's something I think that it's very fascinating because, as you know, a lot of times these draft picks, it comes down to 2 or 3 important people within the organization saying, I'm standing on the table for a guy, right? And at some point, somebody has to make a decision. Somebody has to make a call, that final call. Who's that guy going to be? I think it used to be Arians, to be quite honest. But now, is it Bowles? Does it go to Lights? Who do you think makes that final call?
JP, I think this year it's going to be Light.
But
I got a feeling that Bowles is going to have a lot of input into where it goes. And I think Arians is going to have a lot of input. You've got an offensive guy, you got a defensive guy. And Light is going to absolutely listen to Todd. He's going to absolutely listen to Bruce. But in the final analysis, he's going to sit down and go, okay, I'm going to have to, make the call. And I think it's going to be Jason Licht.
So what effect do you think Todd Bowles will have on this draft?
I believe he's going to sit down with Jason and say, okay, here's our positions of need right now that we need to fix. Can you fix them now or can you fix them in free agency?
Mm-hmm.
Can you fix them with a trade? I mean, we haven't even talked. And again, JP, there are 6 teams with multiple picks in that first round. I think there's going to be some major wheeling and dealing next week and probably even draft day and draft night.
Do you think these teams are moving down or packaging those 2 picks to move up? What do you think?
I don't think there's anybody to package to move up for. And again, the only reason you would package them is to get a quarterback. And I just don't think there's anybody right out there now that's that, Trevor Lawrence guy, that's that Patrick Mahomes guy, that's that Deshaun Watson guy. There's nobody there. So I think maybe they're packaging them to move down. Again, probably go to next year. I'll give you this one for next year because especially teams that don't need a quarterback, they can move down because there's always going to be somebody there, JP, that they make a pick and we all look at each other and go, what were they seeing? What were they thinking?
Right.
And again, that's usually the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah,
they're starting to change that around. But I want to see what Jacksonville does. I want to see what Carolina does. Because my buddy Cattengill down in New Orleans says, Carolina's taking a quarterback. I said, there's got to be an adult in the room that says, no, we don't want to do it that fast. And there's going to be a lot of game of chicken played between teams saying, okay, who you taking? And they're going to say, okay, I'm taking this guy. And okay, fine. We don't want to talk to you anymore.
Right.
It's going to be a lot of wheeling and dealing.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of mocks that have Carolina taking Kenny Pickett. The Falcons taking Malik Willis at number 8. I think if Malik Willis is there at 8, I think the Falcons do pull the trigger on him. I really do. I look at the Kansas City Chiefs now that they have picks number 29 and 30. Now they may sit there and say, look, we can find a really good receiver at 29 and 30, but I also think that they're under because they have 12 draft picks. I think they can say, you know what, we're going to package those 2 and jump up and get the best receiver in this, who they think is the best receiver, whether they Drake London. I don't know who you think the best receiver in this game is, but I think there's some impact receivers, no doubt about it. Garrett Wilson, Ohio State. There's some good ones. What do you think?
Olivo, Ohio State. He's up there
Olave,
too.
yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to see how the 2 Ohio State receivers are going up and down the draft board.
Yeah, and my kid that's still there, what's his Smith, whatever his name is, Nagbu, that guy may be better than both of them. So I don't know. I think we could see some wheeling and dealing from the Chiefs, I think the Bucs are on the clock as well. I think Jason Light's going to be moving and grooving in this one. I think there's a chance that they move back and pick up a 4th or 5th round pick. I think I also think they could jump up if they really want that Zion Johnson, because there's some teams right in front of them that are looking at drafting a guard. I think they could jump up too and get a guy that they really think could play here for 10 to 12 years. So what do you think Light moves?
Oh, I think he does, JP. The question is it up or down?
Right.
And it's going to really depend on what those first 10 picks come out. And again, I basically, if people aren't taking quarterbacks, does that help you or hurt you? And he goes, well, what are you talking to all these GMs? And I said, no, it's just you don't see 2, 3, or 4 guys that are quarterbacks going ahead of you. Because that pushes people down. And JP, we know that there's always one position that falls.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard a lot about cornerback this year, which is surprising to me.
Yeah.
I think there may be a really good corner sitting around there around 20, 21, 22. And there may be another wide receiver there. And you're right. If they think they can pull the trigger and get somebody, and again, you got to get somebody who's going to play now in that first round. That's not somebody you sit and groom. This is somebody that's got to come in and help you right away.
Who do you think that corner is? Who's your top corner in this draft? People like Trent McDuffie from Washington. It's got a lot of length. Pretty considered really, really smart. Derek Stingley, obviously from LSU. I don't think he'll be around. Who do you think are the best corners in this draft?
You hit 2 of them right there, JP, and I think Booth out of Clemson is going to be somebody that they're going to look at as well. But what they're looking for is that big cornerback, because they play in a division that they're big wide receivers.
Yeah,
you got Thomas down at New Orleans, and it's just a situation where you gotta play the masquerading tight end of it at Atlanta, who is out there number 8 as a tight end, but they split him out. He causes real problems. So they're going to look for somebody who's got some length and who's got some speed. And you hit the nail on the head with Stingley, and he's got an injury issue. So I'm going to interesting to see what happens there.
What do you think of Kair Elam from Florida, who has mocked going in the first round? I know he's 4.3 speed. He's a bigger kid, but man, I tell you what, when I watched Florida play, I just didn't see him, dominating like a first round corner should. What are your thoughts?
You know what, JP, you sat there and you looked and he didn't splash, which was amazing, because usually you have a corner that does that. And I'll tell you what, JP, the kid at Cincinnati was he was a hell of a cover corner. But I just don't know if they're looking at a guy that didn't play in a Power 5 conference. I think they're looking at Elam saying, hey, he went up against Georgia, he went up against Alabama, he went up against all these Texas A&M, he went up against LSU, all these really, really good programs. But you're right, he didn't just jump off the tape at you.
Yeah, and and for a corner, and I swear this should have nothing to do with it, obviously, but the Vernon Hargreaves thing just scares you. Do you want to take another corner from Florida? It should have nothing to do with it, but especially it being that's a totally different coaching regime, so there should be nothing to do with it. Does that linger in Jason Light's head? It shouldn't, but does it?
It's got to. I mean, he goes and sits there and go, am I looking at the second coming of Vernon Hargreaves? Yeah. And the funny thing is, JP, he was in my history class out of Wharton High School. So I knew the kid. And when he got drafted, I knew the family. And it just did. I sat there and thought to myself, the kid's not a tackler.
Yeah.
He's not your squat corner. He's not going to be a guy to come up and make tackles. He's going to be a cover corner. But he just never recovered from that first year. And you're right. You got to say, JP, you think he's going to take another kicker? Ever?
No,
Ever?
I don't think so. No. All right, Leo, good stuff as always, my friend. How can the folks get your content at Amped Up Sports?
Yeah, go to Amped Up Sports Facebook, go to Amped Up Sports, and we post a daily update right around 11 o'clock at night and what happened nationally and what happened locally. And, I do my Leo's daily memo Monday, Tuesday, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So
Beautiful.
See what's happening. And I'll tell you what, JP, if you have any interest in the NBA, if Golden State shoots the ball the way they're doing now, nobody's going to beat them.
I know. I love it. My Warriors are back. I love it. I can't wait to see them play. All right, partner. Appreciate it. We'll chat with you next week. We can close the draft.
Yep, and I'll wave you in the press box tonight.
Sounds good. All right. Speaking of the Lightning, quick break. Brian Bradley's going to join us next live from Morning Skate. We'll see what's up with Austin Matthews as the Bolts and Toronto get set for a little playoff preview. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on. Welcome back. FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Golden Diamond Source. Steve and Julie Weintraub over there doing a great job. Great local benefactors, always giving to charity. By the way, April, the gemstone this month is diamond. Yeah, so go get your girl some diamonds. Get some bling bling. They've got great prices over there in all budgets. And it's easy to get to, about 15, 20 minutes from downtown Tampa, right there on Ulmerton Road. It is like a toy store if you're into jewelry. Got beautiful watches, those baller watches, fabulous earrings for your lady. Mother's Day is coming up, so do some shopping over there. They've got 0% interest, 5 years, so you would be shocked at what a huge ring you could get for 30, 40, 50 bucks a month. Check it out. Go find out what you can do at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online, thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, let's talk to the man at Morning Skate, the great Brian Bradley, joining us here. We got breaking news from Brads. What's up, Brads? How are you?
Yeah. What's up, JP? Just at the Morning Skate, the Leafs have just hit the ice for their skate today. So big game tonight against Toronto with potential first-round matchup in the Stanley Cup playoffs with, 6 games or so to go.
Ooh.
That's it.
And we got a little scuttlebutt, huh? The Lightning did not come on the ice at their appointed time this morning. And I'm sure all the media there, all the buzz about what's going on. Give us some chatter. What's happening?
Yeah, you know what? Everybody is around, obviously, with Toronto in town. A lot of media here, a lot of different things, but even with our side. But, we were usually skate at 10:30, 10:28, 10:29, 10:30, 31, 32, 33. No one was on the ice for the Lightning. So Must have been a cold meeting down below because a couple guys, 3 or 4 guys came on around 10:36. So surprising because you're never late for the morning skate. So obviously they're having a meeting in the dress room. So it'll be a good one tonight. Toronto's on the ice now. Everybody's wondering about Austin Matthews. I mean, rumor has it, I talked to some of the Toronto media because I played there, but he's capable of playing tonight. It's will he play? He could have played last game. He didn't play in Philadelphia. He's got some maintenance issue, maybe with shoulder or whatever, but they just don't want to take a chance with 6 games to go. So, it's a game time decision whether he plays or not. So we'll see.
Interesting stuff. So I think it was you who mentioned it to me maybe last game or a couple of games ago. It's like, this seems like a time for a players only meeting because they're just not playing up to their potential. And boy, you nailed it. And we're obviously not sure that's what happened this morning. We'll find out a little bit later when Cooper and the players do their media for today. But, not a bad idea, right?
Yeah, I guess, you know what, because when you look at the last few games, especially let's look at Detroit. Detroit's not in the playoffs. They had an outstanding first period. We outshot them 15-5 on Tuesday. I think the scoring chances were 17-2 scoring chances and outshot them 15-5. And you know what? We could have been up 0-0, and then we came out in the second period and just we're so flat. It's like, I think Detroit had the first 7 shots on goal. Yeah. And we just never got back in the game. It was just, I don't know what happened, but there was a big difference between the first period, which we looked like Stanley Cup champs, to like, hey, we're just not playing. No one really had a good game. At the end of the day, Vazzy was average. A couple goals were okay. Yeah. You know what? Got to be better defensively. Too many mistakes from all our guys. So tonight's a big game. Last time, let's not forget, they played Toronto here. They lost 5-2 to the Leafs. Austin Matthews 3 goals, and I think Toronto dominated the game for the second and third. So we better be ready to go tonight. This is the team we're playing, and you know what? We need to be physical. I think we play best when we're physical. We can't just run and gun with the Leafs. Let's get on them. Let's hit them, and make them pay the price. And let's be physical. That's how the Lightning played. When Winnipeg tried to be physical against us and smash us up our arena, that's when we played our best.
I agree. I think this team is much more suited to that type of hockey. I think in years past we were not, and we changed and won 2 cups. And I think this is a better playoff team than it is maybe regular season team. And here we are coming to the playoff. I do agree with you. We're bigger up front with Nick Paul. I mean, a kid's 6'3", 227. No, I like what's going on with Colton and Stammer and Palat. They seem to have some nice chemistry. So I've been saying for a while that this team's best hockey is ahead of them, and I think if they can get a consistent effort, though, that's the thing, right? You can't just come out in the second period like they did against Detroit and think, okay, we dominate them in the first, we'll do it again. No, it doesn't work that way. You got to have that consistent jam and effort, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, it's like we talked about. It was an outstanding first period. I mean, out shooting Detroit 15-5, many quality, grade 8 scoring chances, like in prime areas, and the goalie Grice had a great game. He was 36 years old, probably the best game of the season. But it's no reason to come out in the second period and not play that well. I mean,
right.
They got to play consistently for 3 periods. And you know what? Like I said, you just can't turn it up in the playoffs and say, hey, we're Stanley Cup champs. We can just come out, start turn it on. It doesn't work that way. So, I mean, we got to kind of go on. Tonight's a statement game. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. We're not going to catch strong second place. Hopefully we'll end up in 3rd place. And we'll play the Leafs in the first round. But, tonight's a game where he's paced in the right direction. But I like when we're physical. We don't want to run and gun with Toronto. They've got a good offensive team, but they're not a physical team. So I think if we can take them physically and be tough on Marner, Matthews, Nylander, their top guys out there, we can make the game miserable. I don't think Toronto plays that good when they play against teams that are physical. But if you let them run and gun and skate, they'll destroy teams. That's where they play their best.
I totally agree. Brian Bradley joining us here. And Brad's, as we look at this game tonight, and I think the number is 1-11 or 1-10 against playoff teams in the last couple of months for the Lightning, and obviously Toronto's a playoff team. Is there any sense in the locker room? I wouldn't think so. They're back-to-back Cup champions, but is there any sense with this new group? Because it still is a new group in terms of playoff experience. All those guys we lost, they're gone. Those were the guys that helped us win back-to-back Cups. We're talking about Gord and Coleman and all those guys. This team hasn't done squat, right, with this particular team. So are they good enough to compete with the upper echelon teams? That record that I just mentioned would suggest no. So that's why I got to see something tonight. What do you think?
Well, you know what? I mean, they haven't won with this team yet, but I mean, when you look at the core group of guys here right now, they're outstanding. I mean, when you look at like Vasilevsky, best goal in the NHL, I think our defense is the best defense in the NHL, especially our bottom core. Edmund, Sergachev, McDonough, Chernak.
Yep.
I mean, there's not who's better offensively. We've got 3 or 4 of the top guys in the league that can score. So, the other guys, some of the guys haven't been there. Yeah, we do miss Yanni Gordon, Blake Coleman, and Barclay Goodrow. But at the end of the day, I like our pickups. Can we win another championship? Yeah, mentally, if we mentally decide we're going to play, we can play with anybody. And you know what? That's the difference right there. So I think we got to be ready to go. But it all has to start turning now. You can't just wait till we play the first round against Toronto or Carolina and say, hey, game 1, let's turn it on now. It doesn't work that way.
No.
It doesn't work that way. Any sports.
Yeah, that's why I think tonight is so important. Is Austin Matthews out there skating this morning?
You know what? Yes, he is. He's over on the far blue line. I see him right now. He looks good. He's not in a colored shirt. He's in a white Toronto shirt. I mean, we'll play things. Maybe, I don't know. It's like you said, the media said he could have played last game and it's maintenance and stuff like that. So they play, I think they play after us. They go to Florida, then they go to Washington. So I'm sure he's going to play some games, whether it's tonight, but I mean, it might be, but that's okay. If it's tonight, be physical against them. And you know what? Last time he was here, they just let those guys, Marner and Matthews, run around Nylander and just, they scored 3 goals, had a big game. We need to be ready to go tonight. I want to see the Lightning play a solid. Hey, you know what? They play bits and spurts where they play a period and a half. Right. We need to play 3 periods tonight, a complete game, and let's see what happens. That's what we're looking for.
So the Lightning are a point ahead of Boston right now. They're 8 behind Toronto, and Toronto has a game in hand. Toronto has won. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. Even without Matthews. Is there any sense in Toronto's dressing room that, okay, we want to put Matthews out there tonight to see if we're going to play these guys in the playoffs. We want to go out there and embarrass them again like we did the last time. So when we play them in the playoffs, they're going to come in doubting themselves that they could actually hang with us. Is there any sense of that in wanting Matthews to play?
No, you know what? I think Toronto's in this situation. They know they're going to finish second.
Right.
So they're going to have home edge, which it's okay for us. I'd rather for us be on the road. We're the two times defending Stanley Cup champions. When you play in the playoffs on the road, you're loose and driving. The home team has to perform. But I think it comes down to match. Do they want to get him to 100%? Like, let's say he's at 85% right now or 90. Why play him? This doesn't mean anything. They're not going to catch Florida. They're not going to get caught by us or Boston. So they're finishing second, Toronto. They know that right now. So right now it's trying to get all their guys and game ready for the playoffs and go from there. So, you know what? If he's 100% ready to play tonight, he'll be going. He looks good on the ice. He just came in, took a shot on goal and scored. Yeah. So, I mean, he's not, he's probably close, and he'll play either in Florida or he'll play in Washington.
Brads, before we go, some thoughts on Sergachev. A rough game, obviously, against the Red Wings. I think when Cooper talked about, you know, guys, it's game 76 and guys are still making the same stupid mistakes. I think he was talking about Sergachev. What do you expect from him moving forward? This has been an ongoing problem. And you watch him play sometimes, especially at the blue line, and he tries to make these crazy plays sometimes, and it's just like, enough. Man, you've been in this league for what, 5 years now? Enough of this stuff. And sometimes I feel like he tries to show everybody that he's just as good as Hedman, and he's, he can make the same offensive plays. And I'm like, no, be yourself. Stop some of this nonsense. What do you think?
Well, Sergey's a great player. I mean, he's a young kid. We traded him from Drouin, and he's came in and played well, and he had a great junior career in Windsor, I think, with the Spitfires. But sometimes guys try to do too much, and you know what? It's mentally too. You got to be mentally ready to make plays and stuff like that. And sometimes relaxed guys. I'm not going to blame him fully. I mean, I thought our decor last game was very average.
Yeah.
Hedman was okay. McDonough was average. Sergey Chernak didn't play well. So I think it was a collective thing with all the defensemen. I didn't think they played well the second, third. Detroit way too many chances and odd man situations, jumping up plays, wrong opportunities. So we can be way better tonight. Not only Sergachev, but Chernak, McDonough, and Hedman. Those are two guys on the back end. McDonough and Hedman. They need the lead. I thought they played very average.
Yeah, it's not just Sergey. I didn't mean to point the finger just at him, but he had a rough night the other night, and he just can't do that in the playoffs. You make a mistake like that can cost you a series. So he's proven he can play in the playoffs, and hopefully him and everybody else is just more focused tonight and moving forward. All right, Brads, good stuff as always. Thanks for the breaking news. Can't wait to hear if there was indeed some type of players-only meeting. I think that's probably a good thing. So we'll get the best effort tonight. Love to see it. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, JP, have a great night. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls. See you tonight. Oh, players only meeting, huh? We don't know that for sure. We'll find out in a little bit when the Lightning do their media. But certainly, they're normally on the ice right at that particular time. So something's going on.
Something is going on, and they better have it going on tonight because we talked about in the first segment, Toronto coming in, maybe a team you're going to see in the first round. I think they're still matched up with them at the moment. We know the firepower they have coming in here, even if Matthews doesn't play. I hope he does play. I don't know if he's still going for the 70-goal marker, but I'd assume.
Gotta be.
I think it might be a little bit out of reach, but still. I don't even know if he got to sit yet because I feel like I would have heard about it.
Yeah, I think he's knocking on the door of 50. I
know your boy Ovechkin last night became the third player in NHL history to get 9 50-goal seasons in the NHL. Wayne Gretzky, Mike Bossy, Alex Ovechkin.
He's such a shot hog. I love that. I wish Kucherov would be a shot hog.
Kucherov could score 50 goals if he wanted to.
Yeah.
He absolutely could.
And do you think the question is, would we be a better team for it? I mean, you can't argue with the results. Sometimes, sometimes not shooting the puck is the right play, and he's unbelievable setting up other players. But that being said, Ovechkin is among the leaders in shots every year and goals, obviously, every year.
Yeah.
He's at 58, 102 points so far this year. Marner's at 95 points, playing great. So he's at 58 goals, and what do they got? Six games.
He ain't getting 70, but he might
needs to get to 60.
He can get to 60.
He needs to get to 60, and he's got to start playing. That's got to be important to him.
Yeah, and
it's got to be important.
I don't think anybody's gotten to 60 since Stammer.
Yeah.
Which is just think about that.
Which think about Gretzky getting 90. Was it 92?
90. How many? I mean, you could debate all his numbers all day. 92 goals in 1 year. What, 50 and 39 games that year? I mean, just outrageous. It's outrageous.
I actually saw him play as an LA King back in the day at the Forum. Yeah, upstairs. We got a couple of cheap tickets upstairs, and then we moved. Me and my brother moved down Lowe, and he actually scored a goal in the third period. And just watching him, I remember just watching him skate. He just looked like it was like watching an HL guy skate against a bunch of or college hockey players. I mean, or high school hockey players. It was just so different. He was gliding on the ice and going places just making people look silly.
Yeah, very ahead of his time. You got his records right up there.
Most points, 2,856 points.
The craziest thing about that, he could have 0 goals still have the most points.
Most points, including playoffs. 3,238 points. We celebrate when guys get to 400.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude has 3,238 points. Most goals, 894 goals. Including playoffs, 1,016 goals. 1,016 goals. Most 40 goal seasons, 12. 50 or more goal seasons, 9, tied with Mike Bossy. You were talking about Mike Bossy's records.
Mike Bossy played only 10 years in the NHL and nearly got to 600 goals and has the same records goal scoring wise as Wayne Gretzky. I mean, imagine if he played till 40 like Wayne Gretzky did.
Yeah.
Probably he just passed away earlier this week.
Yeah.
A very revered player. But the fact that
if you double all his numbers,
he probably surpasses Gretzky in goal scoring. In fact, he easily probably does.
Yeah, of course, you're not going to score as many when you're 38 than you are when you're 28. So
some are. I mean, Ovechkin's 36?
Yeah,
he's still scoring 50. It makes it more impressive though for Ovechkin in this era to have 9 50-goal seasons, the same as what Gretzky and Bossy did.
Yeah,
he's just a machine.
92 goals in a single season.
It's hard to wrap your head around, isn't it?
And then 83-84, he had 100 total, including playoffs. So he had 87 goals in 74 regular season games and 13 goals in 19 playoff games. Holy shiz. I mean, it's just
talk about unbreakable records in sports. You can just go down the list there. Nobody's touching it.
Yeah, none of it. Wow. Unbelievable. And we're trying to get to Austin Masters trying to get to 60.
Yeah. And I think he's going to get to 70 one day. I think John Cooper said that last time. He says he's scoring 70 one day.
All right, we'll take a break. And when we come back, we are going to just obliterate the Rays for these ticket prices for the Red Sox games. This is a joke, bro. This is an absolute effing joke. I have no words. But I'll have some when we come back. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. Our second hour brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. At the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road over there in beautiful Clearwater, and easy to get to over there. And Mother's Day is coming up, so you might want to go do a little shopping for mom or just anything, go get your honey something nice. And if you're thinking about getting engaged, of course you have to, just like my man Nick did here. Go to the Gold and Diamond Source. They will treat you tremendously well, make it an easy process, explain everything to you, no high sales pressure. Whatever your budget is, they'll find something great for you in that budget, and you can trust them. Other places, you don't know where they're getting the diamonds. They can tell you it's this, they can tell you it's that. The Gold and Diamond Source has been here for decades. They're not going anywhere. They are trusted in the community. You can always bring it back to get you a bigger, better diamond as well. So it's the best place to shop, and it is a fun place to shop as well. So stop by the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. In fact, you might want to bring in some of your old gold jewelry and diamonds and get cash for them if you're thinking about going to a race game, because the prices this week for Rays Red Sox are effing ridiculous. The cheapest ticket, I'll turn it over to my ticket expert here. The cheapest ticket, the party deck seat is $40 before fee. So after fees, it's $35. So after fees, what is it? $83?
Yes.
$83 for two tickets, the party deck. Go see the Rays and Boston this weekend. Come on. Seriously? And I know you get a Jackie Robinson hat, but that's ridiculous. The Braves are hosting the Red Sox in May at Truist Park, the defending World Series champions. You can get a general admission ticket for $17. $17 after fees, $43 for 2 tickets. That's reasonable for the cheapest price in the house for the World Series champs with a high draw like the Boston Red Sox. Most days you can get a $5 ticket in Atlanta. You can't get that here. It's ridiculous. And then if you want to say you want to take your girl and get some decent seats, maybe halfway between the dugout and the outfield. These aren't the best seats in the house by any means. For the Rays, 2 seats is going to cost you with fees $203. $203 for 2 seats in section 116, which isn't even behind the dugout. It's a little bit, it's halfway between the the outfield, and first base. Those are like average decent tickets in a lower bowl, and they're over $200 just for the tickets. Parking is $20. Beers are $14 each. I mean, you're talking about $300 to take your girl to sit someplace decently for a baseball game. No, not in this market. That is not going to work. And if the Rays don't understand this, of course they do, or they don't care. That is ridiculous. And they're one big crowd this week. Everybody will blame the fans, and it's not right. That is just not pricing your product to the market. This is obviously a market that is not, per capita income. It's one of the lowest. It's getting better, but it's still one of the lowest. It's a weekend series. I get it. But if you really cared about your players and you wanted to have people in there, those outfield tickets would be exactly what they are in Atlanta, $17 to $20 each. That's what they would be. And they're not. They're double that price. So, there's going to be probably 12 to 13,000 in there. And people who are going to spend that much money to go to a Rays game are not going to be happy about the game experience. It's just, you're not going to have very many happy customers. It's not doable. Now I'm looking at it. Those tickets are about the similar price for the Boston Red Sox series in Atlanta, but normally those tickets are lower price. And I'm guessing that the Rays have tiered pricing again for the more expensive game. But I don't know. To me, I don't know what you guys think, but that seems to me to be way more than they should be.
For the party deck, I've never ever even entertained sitting in the party deck go to a game. I don't know if you've ever been up there.
I've been there. They're the cheap seats, but you expect to go up there and pay $5 to $10 for those seats and gladly pay $12 for a beer.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
$40 a pop to sit up there.
That's crazy.
It's asinine.
That's insane. That's asinine.
And listen, I get it. Okay. I've been seeing that thread that was going over the weekend. I thought that you can't really say it's the same situation as down here because the Rays are not a draw anywhere they play.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That makes it different. Tickets are obviously going to be cheaper, just like they're more when they play the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Phillies, name whatever team up there that has a big fan base. It's always going to be more. It's always been that way.
Yep.
But $40 in the party deck, I could see $40, for a Red Sox Yankee game, maybe in those corners, like down the third base line,
lower level.
And you kind of get a little bit more expensive as you go down, as you get closer to the plate. Start at 40 there, outfield 30 maybe or 25, and then up there 10
at most.
But 40 for the party deck and then $60 for the outfield?
That's crazy.
And
that's awful.
And $20 to park is like the normal rate. I wonder if it's more expensive for a Red Sox Yankee game.
Probably.
I mean, it all adds up, folks. And for people saying, well, I started saying, people seem to go to Lightning games for that, but I have to keep in mind there is 81 of these things.
Exactly.
And it's a little bit of a different situation.
It's a way different situation.
But I just would love to see on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday in St. Pete, knowing what is behind the Trop in the entertainment district that is down there.
At 81 games, the price should be half of what the Lightning are charging. And by the way, Lightning are back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, and they have a lot more season ticket holders. So there's more scarcity to the tickets. And the Lightning never have to worry about getting butts in seats, where the Rays should worry about that. They have the room. Why do they not discount these tickets? Mario Christian says on by the way, if you guys want to stream in on the YouTube channel, you can make comments right there. It says the Rays brass knows the Boston fans will get their hands on them if still available for game day or the series this weekend. You know what? I don't care. They should still have prices that are going to fill the house, and those prices are not going to fill the house. If you're ideally marketing to get the highest paid dollar to get the most people at the highest paid rate, right? So there's got to be a sweet spot in there. The Rays don't market it that way. They charge as much as they can. They think they can, and they'd rather have less people in the house at a higher dollar rate. But that doesn't work for your fans, and it doesn't work for your players. That's not giving a crap about. You might make the same amount of revenue. I would argue not. But I think the reason they do it is so they can still keep their narrative of, oh, nobody shows up for the Red Sox series. It's a big series. We're just on the road. We came home and there were 13,000. Yeah, because they're charging exorbitant prices. People are not going to, when they can go do other, especially with inflation. I mean, people are really counting their pennies now. And you're not discounting because of inflation. You're increasing. Awful. And you're also increasing the likelihood that there will be more Red Sox fans there than Rays fans, right?
Oh, we already know that's going to happen.
And why? Because Red Sox fans are only going to come to a few games here. Rays fans will go, all right, I'll wait for the next series where the tickets will be cheaper. So once again, you're screwing over your own team in terms of the attendance and people that are there.
Although I will say, I went to, I don't know, this ended up being like this, but I went to like 4 games last year, and I think 3 of them were against the Red Sox, and 2 of those were during the regular season. And to be honest, there wasn't exactly a great crowd for those games against the Red Sox.
Yeah.
I'm talking like 12,000, 13,000. If you remember, a Red Sox game used to always be 20-something thousand, guaranteed. So for whatever reason, even like Red Sox fans who are in this area, they're not really going to the games either.
Yeah,
they're not.
Well, they're probably it's probably too high a price for them either.
Yeah.
You know?
It's for whatever reason, they're really not getting those big crowds for these marquee games anymore.
Joe F says it's all smoke and mirrors. In this case, they can show that other team fans come and buy and use that against the city and say we don't support the team, just like with Freddie. Yeah, of course they keep their stupid false narratives going. And nobody talks about the fact that their tickets were grossly overpriced. They don't market the team, and they're just they don't care about their players playing in front of their own fans. Clearly, Richie P says these guys know when it's talking about the Lightning. It's time to step up, and I think they're going to check themselves and get that playoff mindset in place when it's time. Hey, that's what we hope, bro. That's what we hope. You hate to lean on that. You feel like kind of a fan saying that, like, let's don't criticize them because, they're just going to turn it on. We don't know that. We don't know that because this is a different team. And Bradley made a great point. It's still the core. It's still the core of this team is still a championship core. And I agree with that. That's what makes me feel like they can flip the switch because they have done it. But if you're being objective, like some of these more, I think national media are a little bit more objective than we are. I think we can say that. And they're looking at the Lightning and they're saying, no,
it's because
we don't see it.
The numbers, if you're a numbers guy, there's not a single metric that you dig deeper in that tells you the Lightning are a contending team. In fact, it tells you that they're middle of the road. Right. Like they're worse than the record says they are.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And so that's why I think tonight is such a big game. And I'm so interested to see how they're going to skate. And I hope Austin Matthews plays. And he should play. He should play. If he's ready to go, if they've been waiting to get him in a game, I think this is what they've been waiting for. I want to talk a little bit about this before we go. I thought Wimbledon made a horrible decision yesterday. Wimbledon has banned Russian and Belarusian players over the invasion of Ukraine. Novak Djokovic did some media today and said it's absolutely crazy. Djokovic said, I will always condemn war. I will never support war, being myself a child of war, growing up in Serbia. I know how much emotional trauma it leaves. In Serbia, we all know what happened in 1999. In the Balkans, we have had many wars in recent history. However, I cannot support the decision of Wimbledon. I think it's crazy. When politics interferes with sport, the result is not good. And I totally agree with him. And one of the big reasons I hate this decision is because we have such a copycat groupthink mentality all over the world. And when one prestigious institution like Wimbledon does something like this, I think it gives other institutions feel that gives them credibility to do the same thing. And can you imagine if the NHL were to follow suit with what what Wimbledon has done? I mean, I think it would be absolutely criminal, and obviously to the Lightning team, it would be crippling. And I think it sets a horrible, horrible precedent. These players have nothing to do with what Putin's doing. They don't. I would say 99% of them don't support Putin, but they can't get out because they have family in Russia. It's not like America where you used to be able to speak out. You're putting their family in danger. So Wimbledon, you whiffed on this one. You got aced on this one. Very, very, very bad decision, in my opinion. All right. Our thanks to Leo Haggerty, who joined us today, the great Brian Bradley from Morning Skate, who told us there may have been some type of players-only meeting. We'll find out in a little bit, and we'll comment on that on Twitter. And Dan Lucas as well. If you missed anything on the show, don't forget to download our app, FanStream Sports, all one word. And you can listen to it anytime. Just tap that app, and you can listen to us in the morning, at night, on drive on your way home. And subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast as well. We're doing record numbers now. We really appreciate you guys listening and spreading the word. We'll be back again tomorrow with 2 hours of Tampa Bay Centric Sports. See you then.